In the mounting tensions between the government and social media giants, this is the biggest escalation so far. The showdown of all times in one single comment. The center, which has been going all guns blazing against Facebook, Twitter, Google for what it calls lack of accountability and responsibility, now has deployed S. Jaishankar, the otherwise very mild-mannered, soft-spoken Minister of External Affairs, who has issued the ultimate ultimatum to these companies and put them on notice, saying that they've become more powerful than states and that they function without any accountability, and that this is a danger to democracy.
Big tech is there. It's in my life, very, very visibly in my life. So you have a big presence. Where's the responsibility? Okay, they have huge power. Where's the accountability?
The biggest and the most direct attack on big tech. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar exposed double standards of social media giants at the India Global Forum, raising the debate about accountability with big power that big tech wields and responsibility with their massive presence in our lives.
In a democratic society, we have to ask ourselves, okay, big tech is there. It's in my life, very, very visibly in my life. So you have a big presence. Where's the responsibility which comes with that? Okay, they have huge power. Where's the accountability? This is again not an issue limited to India. They harvest our data as they do across the world. So you have, in a sense, the opposite of the American Revolution, which is you have representation and no taxation.
Former British Prime Minister Tony Blair raised the issue of the technological revolution of the 21st century being the equivalent of the industrial revolution of the 19th century, where big tech plays a very crucial role in the lives of people. Blair agreed there was a need for a regulatory mechanism within which big tech operates in any democracy.
So if you take the major tech giants, their impact on our lives and on the economy is so enormous that my institute published a paper last year, actually, talking about how you need a regulatory framework within which they operate.
Dr. Jaishankar exposed the argument that asking big tech to operate in a regulatory mechanism in a democracy amounts to an assault on free speech.
International relations has been devised on the basis of state-based players. What happens when you have non-state players who in some ways are bigger than many, many states? So these are very serious questions which need debating. I think they can't be brushed under the carpet saying, well, you shouldn't question them because then you're attacking freedom of speech. I think that's a cop-out. It obviously serves their interest. So it's a very, very legitimate debate.
India had in February directed big tech giants to operate in a regulatory mechanism and appoint a grievance redressal officer to respond to grievances of social media users, a nodal officer to interact with government agencies, and a compliance officer to file a monthly compliance report on complaints and action taken. Twitter is yet to appoint the three, despite a week-long grace period given after the May 26 deadline. Union Law and IT Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad has accused Twitter of following an arbitrary approach.
You, in Washington, when some people invade the Capitol, you stop their Twitter account, which also involved a president at that point in time. Your decision? But when the Red Fort of Delhi is invaded during the farmers' strike by terrorist supporters with sword-wielding people, Red Fort is where the Prime Minister hoists the national flag. You say it is freedom of speech?
The Parliamentary Standing Committee on Information Technology has also given Twitter a 48-hour deadline to explain why Union Law and IT Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad's Twitter account was blocked for an hour and directed the microblogging platform to comply with Indian IT laws and rules. Bureau Report, India Today.
Our Foreign Affairs editor Geeta Mohan, who broke that story with me live. Geeta, clearly the crossfire that's on between these social media companies and the government is on top of most people's minds right now. This is a situation that's been escalating. And even within that, Minister Jaishankar's comment today is going to be seen as a pretty big escalation, talking about the power of social media without responsibility and its effects in a democracy.
Well, that's right, Shiv. The fact that there are real concerns when it comes to social media giants operating in various parts of the world, which is what the External Affairs Minister was trying to put forth, that it is not just a concern that India has with these social media giants. Countries across the world are facing the same problem. And the fact that they are influencers, the fact that if a country starts their own social media platforms, then it becomes an echo chamber and you cannot reach out to the international community is the reason why they are such huge influencers, but does not mean that they can operate in a country without accountability and responsibility. So over here, the Indian administration very clearly stating it out to social media giants like Twitter that they cannot keep dragging their feet on transparency and accountability, and they will be held to account if they do not start paying heed to the concerns of the Indian administration. We've heard the External Affairs Minister in about half an hour, the Union Minister for Telecommunications and Information is also going to speak at the very same forum, and his focus of the debate is going to be tech giants in this day and age. So it will be interesting to see how the Indian administration puts Twitter or puts Twitter and all other social media giant platforms in a corner and asks them for accountability and responsibility.
The multiple things have been happening. Geeta, thank you very much for getting us that perspective on this developing story. There has been very aggressive comments made by a bipartisan parliamentary standing committee, which has, basically interrogated representatives of Facebook, Google, Twitter, and other, social media companies. You've got the ongoing tussle and FIRs filed against Twitter in the Ghaziabad issue. Then you've got the map issue. Then you've got the blocking of the IT Minister, Ravi Shankar Prasad, then Shashi Tharoor. That's another issue. And now you've got the issue of non-compliance, where Twitter is seen to be continuing to be in defiance. That's the perspective within the government. So overall, this is being seen as an escalatory situation between the government on the one side and these social media companies, or at least some of them, on the other. And that's the context in which you've got the Foreign Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar say that this is power without accountability and its effects in a democracy. Joining me live, Sumit Chandar is a well-known advocate. Jiten Jain is a well-known cybersecurity expert and analyst. Welcome to you both. Jiten, to you first. Your reading of Minister Jaishankar's comments in the context of what has happened over the last few days, it certainly cannot be disconnected with the atmosphere and the developments we've been seeing as far as the crossfire between the companies and the government is concerned. And Jaishankar, the minister, is usually very soft-spoken. He sounded pretty adamant. He sounded pretty angry. He kept pressing home that point, Jiten, about power without accountability.
It is true, Shiv, that, a mild-mannered Mr. Jaishankar speaking in a very firm tone against big tech, I think it is a huge step towards sending a very definitive message to this big tech. Now, look, Shiv, if you look at the conduct of this company last 2-3 years, it appears that they are in some sort of colonial hangover where they think that a self-appointed viceroy like Mr. Jack Dorsey can influence or interfere in the sovereign lawmaking process of a democratic country. These companies have, had the audacity to tell a joint parliamentary panel of one of the world's largest democracy that Twitter's policy is superior to India's law. And they will follow their policy, not the Indian law. They have been continuously flouting legal orders given by the government under 69A. their platforms in the past have been used to spread massive misinformation against India, run a propaganda by ISI, and whenever Indian government sends any takedown request, they refuse to comply. It appears that they are trying to spread anarchy and incite riots in the garb of defending free speech. Now then, instead of refusing to follow Indian law is one thing. Then, you would remember during the Galwan conflict where 26 Indian soldiers laid down their lives, this company, which has been kicked out of China, still remains banned, was showing for 15 days Ladakh as a Chinese territory, despite of several reminders by the government it did not correct. Now again, they have shown J&K as a part of China. Now fourth, instead of following law of the land, these companies now have the audacity to impose an American law, a DMCA Act on Indian IT minister and block his account for a 2017 tweet. I think they think that they are living in some sort of island where they are running a personal freedom and can run what they want. They can censor anyone, they can censor a minister, they can censor a sovereign. So that is why एक message सिर्फ हम आप में कोई बोलता नहीं है, वो सबको लगता था कि भारत सरकार अगर इन कंपनियों के खिलाफ एक्शन लेगी तो बिडेन एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन शायद अमेरिकन सरकार नाराज हो जाए.
So let me jump straight to the next question in that case. Sumit, what is the end game in this? For weeks we've been seeing these companies being put on notice, being accused of defiance, being issued these ultimatums, stern words being said about them. Is this an ongoing kind of tu-tu-me-me negotiation between the government and these companies, or do you think there is really some action that might be taken against them?
The action is already in process. The government has its own ways. Of course, there is no direct law so far to control it in a particular manner. So they are coming up with all the side laws to ensure that there is a compliance. But yes, so far as rights under Twitter is concerned, let us be very clear. First of all, when Article 19 of the Constitution is there, which protects the citizen, every citizen, a certain right to freedom of speech, that cannot be curtailed. Of course, there are other rights also, cannot go beyond that. But where, like Abraham Lincoln says, where your right absolutely comes to an end, where another person's right begins. So these are things, in fact, if you go by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, when he first introduced the Constitution of India in the Parliament, he, in his introduction speech, had said, however good a constitution may be, if those who are implementing it are not good, the constitution itself will prove to be bad. So it is a very fine line which we have to, the government has to tender so that there is a protection of rights on both sides, be it freedom of speech or the control over it.
Jiten, the government has continuously insisted that this has nothing to do with freedom of speech. This is about the application of law. This is about compliance with a country's law. Is there a fine line? Do you agree that there is a fine line between, protecting those liberties and imposing national law? And that is the reason why this situation has been escalating like this.
Shiv, there is definitely a fine line and a much bigger red line which Twitter has crossed. Now, tell me, this is not an assault on, asking a company to appoint 3 officers in India, a grievance officer and a compliance officer who's Indian law, is an assault on free speech. I think their refusal to comply with Indian law, their insult to Indian Parliamentary Standing Committee is an assault on India's democratic process, India's sovereignty and India's sovereign lawmaking process. Now, second, no sovereign country will tolerate an uncontrollable monster who refuses to comply with the law of the land. आप मुझे बताइए, if you want to open a company in America, can our TCS, Infosys or Reliance can run amok and flout American laws when they're operating in America? Is it possible? I'll tell you a question. Any company which is a for-profit company will never mess with the government of any sovereign state. They will never, go for unwarranted fights unless and until the objective is not profit but something different. It appears that Twitter's objective today is not to make profit or not to run business. It is something else. And these companies are operating as an extension of a foreign state. I repeat, it appears that these companies are operating as an invisible extension of foreign state, trying to spread anarchy in the garb of defending free speech.
And that may have been one of the insinuations from the External Affairs Minister, even though he didn't point at any specific country. But Sumit, the fact that many of these companies, I'm not taking any particular names, but many of these companies are projecting themselves as these vanguards of free speech when the issue is not so much about free speech but compliance with laws that these companies comply with in many other countries. The example of a TCS or an Infosys going to the US and running amok is a fair one in that sense.
See, I'm not saying that there should not be a law which protects what is required in the country. There should be a law. Definitely. There's no doubt about it. But are we, like I said, it's a very fine line. Is the government overstepping that line just under the garb of trying to control it in a certain manner? Now look at it. Because there is no particular law here with respect to these public domains or like Twitter or other such accounts, what is happening? Today, the court or a complaint or criminal case has been filed against the chief of the Twitter. For what? Not for a certain reason. He was first called as a witness, and that's why he's got the protection from the Karnataka High Court also, because he was initially called as a witness, gets converted into a accused in that very complaint. He's compelled to come to give a statement to Loni, which anyways he is taken a protection for. So if the High Court has intervened, I'm not saying it's because of certain law or not having a proper law to that effect. Please make that law.
Yeah.
But the question is, that law does not exist. Do you resort to other criminal cases against the chief of that company? That is something is wrong.
Okay, so 2 points. One final word, Jiten, in that case, that there is a sense that, these FIRs, multiple FIRs summoning the MD of Twitter is being done with the intention to intimidate, not so much as, impose due process on any of these cases, and in the larger pursuance of control of these social media, platforms in India. But my question is slightly different. What is the end game here? At the end of the day, these social media companies are big. They are large platforms. The government is on all these platforms as well. Do you see some kind of breaking point? We've seen many ultimatums issued so far. Do you see some kind of breaking point? We've seen apps like TikTok being banned here. It was a separate context. There was China involved. Do you see some kind of drastic action taking place here, Jiten? Because ultimately, that's what users care about.
See, first of all, it is not a question of Twitter. WhatsApp is also indulging into predatory practices of obtaining a forced consent from 40 crore people to, collect their data. Second, it is not a question about WhatsApp, Twitter. What about Amazon? Look at the Reuters report and look at the, manipulation of India's judicial system, which is at play to, stall any investigation by Competition Commission of India, literally flouting Indian FDI laws, operating shady companies like Cloudtail, and then, defying Indian laws. It is not about big tech. It is about every American tech which is operating in sector. And it is not my words. Mr. Piyush Goyal pointed it out. And he named America. That these companies are operating as some sort of giants beyond law.
Yeah.
Second, Twitter has no protection today, not because government has revoked it, because they are not following the law and rules, which in turn would have given the protection. If they do not follow the rules, the protection is automatically gone.
It's also,
and every potential loss. Every tweet is a potential lawsuit today.
It's also odd that, Twitter has been issued a final ultimatum. They have to answer to the government by tomorrow on the temporary blocking of the IT minister's account over a 2017 tweet, in pursuance of a US copyright law. All these ultimatums are flying thick and fast. So one is just left wondering, where is this actually going to lead? If a certain imposition is not complied with, then what? So, and that then what suspense has been continuing for quite a while. Interesting to note that Twitter has not complied, while many of the other companies, Google, Facebook, YouTube, etc., have all complied, even though they have approached courts after they have formally complied. So those are things that make this a fluid situation as far as the rules of engagement for social media with the government are concerned. Sumit and Jiten, pleasure, gentlemen. Thank you very much for being with me on this show. But we've got some breaking news now. More trouble for Twitter. Here's the latest chapter in the trouble for Twitter saga. The National Commission for Women has asked Twitter to take action against pornographic content within a week. The National Commission for Women says that this is content that not only violates Indian law, but also Twitter's own policy against such content, and that no action has been taken against obscene content so far. The Commission has shared details with Twitter of a few profiles sharing pornographic content and has directed the company to remove all such content within 1 week. The platform has been asked to communicate its action taken within the next 10 days. So National Commission for Women has taken action and issued notice to Twitter to remove pornographic content which violates Twitter's own policies. Now, the showdown between Twitter and the Modi government has been escalating with each passing day. Twitter has been given a 2-day ultimatum to explain why it blocked Union IT and Law Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad's account a few days ago. Twitter's trouble is only mounting day by day. So far, 4 FIRs have been registered against the company's top boss in India.
Social media giant Twitter's troubles are mounting. First, it was read the Riot Act by the IT minister.
When they said within a week we'll do it, they did not do so. If you do not follow these guidelines or the rules, then you will lose Section 79 status and other attendant penal law consequences.
And now, in a fresh flare-up, the Parliamentary Committee for Information and Technology, chaired by Congress MP Shashi Tharoor, has sought a written reply from Twitter within 2 days. This for blocking Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad's account for an hour on Friday. On the same day, Shashi Tharoor claimed his account too was blocked by Twitter earlier. For Twitter, the mounting heat is just the tip of the iceberg. So far, 4 FIRs have been filed against the American microblogging giant over a range of issues. In the national capital, the Delhi Cyber Cell has lodged FIR under the Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act for children pornographic content shared on its platform by users. In Ghaziabad, FIR is registered for allegedly spreading fake information. UP and Madhya Pradesh police have registered cases for showing a distorted map of India on its platform. The centre says Twitter has lost immunity that other social media firms enjoy for content posted by users, as the company failed to meet the new IT guidelines that came into effect on May 26th. The government says the new IT rules are essential to prevent the misuse of social media.
It deals not with the use of social media. It deals with the abuse and misuse of social media and give a voice to the victims of abuse. Journalists, now judges, forget politicians, small businessmen, people are being defamed, fake news going on, nudity being shown.
Cyber experts too have echoed a similar sentiment.
जो बाउंड्री है हमारी, वो बाउंड्री एक चीज़ के लिए हमारा जो है जवान जाके मरता है. हम कुछ भी जो जंग होती है फिर हम जाके मोमबत्ती लेके इंडिया गेट पहुंच जाते हैं. कोई कानून है ही नहीं, मुझे आज तक दिखा नहीं कोई कानून जो डायरेक्टली इस मुद्दे को, इस बात को टच करे.
With the microblogging site losing its intermediary status and legal shield in India last week, Twitter can legally be held liable for every post made by its millions of users. With Rahul Srivastav and Aishwarya Paliwal in Delhi and Mustafa Sheikh in Mumbai, Bureau Report, India Today.
And while that fire rages on against Twitter, Google, the other big tech giant from the United States, is also in the line of fire, this time over serious breaches of privacy being alleged. Sources have told India Today that during a deposition before the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Information Technology, headed by Congress MP Shashi Tharoor, the global tech giant's representatives admitted that its employees listened to private recordings of customer conversations via the Google Assistant and the Home Speaker device. Here's what Rahul Srivastav found out in this exclusive report. There's a little Google in everyone's life. If you're online in any shape or form, there's almost zero chance that Google isn't part of your existence. You've always known somewhere that tech companies keep tabs on your life, your habits, what you watch, what you shop for, where you go, who you meet, and what you say. But Google's links in your life have just become a little more explicit. During a deposition before India's Parliamentary Standing Committee on Information Technology, headed by Congress MP Shashi Tharoor, on the need to safeguard citizens' rights, top sources tell India Today that Google representatives admitted that Google employees listen to private recordings of customer conversations via Google Assistant. Sources say Google admitted that its employees listen when users with Google Assistant on their phones and smart speakers say "OK Google" to kickstart a conversation with the assistant, very much like Amazon's Alexa. Significantly, the Google team admitted that some user conversations were recorded even when users weren't activating Google Assistant. Google has said that only general conversations were recorded, never anything sensitive. Now, how Google actually differentiates is something it didn't clarify to the parliamentary panel. To sum up, admission number one, employees do listen to private recordings via Google Assistant. They listen to Google Assistant instructions, but that these recordings are of general conversations, nothing sensitive.
Get a Lyft ride to my hotel.
The admissions by Google explain why lakhs of users, right after asking Google Assistant, for instance, about hotels in a city, start getting messages on their accounts on different platforms about deals and offers, is what one member of the parliamentary panel observed. Deeming it a serious breach of user privacy, the panel's final report is expected to make recommendations to the central government on it. The panel firmly conveyed to representatives from Google and other tech giants, including Facebook, that they need to plug loopholes urgently in their existing data protection and privacy policy mechanism and install stringent safeguards. Social media platforms that have challenged India's new IT rules have found Indian politicians uniting across party lines to direct Facebook, Google and others to comply with the country's laws. The absence of a political divide has led to extensive grueling of teams from these tech giants. With Rahul Srivastav in Delhi, Bureau Report, India Today.